What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, welcome for the first time. This is my second channel. I'm actually doing this because I love Marathon, I love extraction shooters, I like other games, and my main channel is all racing, and I can't post any content on there. So here we are. This video is all about the new shells. Bungie just posted a bunch of new information. They've got basically a detailed breakdown of each of the shells in the game and what they do, what their purpose is, and it's kind of interesting. I want to go through this video with you guys and talk about my thoughts and my reactions to this. So let's go. I love, by the way, that they're posting video like this.
What we're calling the bioprinted bodies that you, the runner, inhabit when you go down to Tau Ceti. Each of our launch shells is really an archetype of gameplay.
So abilities, passives, stat packages, married to a very distinct...
By the way, they're not getting away from the hero shooter, okay? I understand that they want to move the game and the conversation away from hero shooting, but they're not going to. They have created these archetypes, just like they just said, of different gameplay styles within a specific character model, or, you know, this is hero shooting at its finest. The thing that layers this, that makes it different to me, is that the fact that it's an extraction shooter. So you're basically given sort of these hero shells with different abilities and ways to build that hero, and then you have these extraction shooter mechanics with PvE and PvP. It is different than a normal traditional hero shooter, but it is not different, if that makes sense. So anyway, let's just get into it. I just thought that was like my first thought when I'm watching this.
Distinct silhouette that then players can look at, you know, 50, 60 meters away and say, oh, I know what that is. I know what that player is capable of, and I can start to think about how to counteract it.
One of the things we really want to do from the build crafting side is making sure that we're providing people ingredients instead of giving them a recipe. Figuring out what you want for your build that is unique, and you do that across cores, you do that across implants, you do that across weapon mods.
The deeper they can go on this, the better. The more base the base is, the better. It needs to be raw and very elementary at first, and then the more gear you get, the more mods that you put on the shell, the more detailed the build gets. That's gonna be what separates this game a little bit in terms of its like hero shooter nature. They need to go really deep on the build crafting here, and all of the builds need to sort of have this counteraction with the other builds. Anyway, let's keep going.
Cores are powerful standalone perks that can be used in combination with each other to shift the gameplay style of your runner kit. We also want to make sure that there are interesting combinations of things that work together, but they have hooks that go out into the other systems, so you can create this like crazy Rube Goldberg machine.
Depending on your playstyle, if you're like someone who hangs back and likes to snipe, you're someone who likes close quarters combat and you're going to rush in, you're going to want to cater the items that you're finding differently.
The idea there is like, have a broad spectrum that everyone can kind of find a little bit of a home to, and then we're going to build on top of that.
It's smart. You have to build it that way. I think this is going to be the base shell.
Brutal, whereas a modified futuristic version of the Mjolnir armor from the original trilogy.
The shell.
This is like a Soldier 76 from Overwatch or something. This is like the basic, like the most easy shell to use is this guy here, and I think this is going to be the majority of people's pick. This is going to be like the casual pick, and then you get into some shells that are a little bit more difficult.
It was designed to get into the fight as fast as possible and stay there. It comes equipped with thrusters on its legs that let it sprint faster, or you can use them for a quick lateral evade.
A riot barricade so that they can generate presence and they can generate like almost like aggro for their team.
Prime ability is Search and Destroy, which activates shoulder-mounted missile pods that fire heat-seeking missiles.
They have a way to lock down targets over sustained fire, which immobilizes them and allows your team to follow up.
Our Assassin Shell is built for players that like to play slow and quiet. It's very much a classic,
rats, dude, the rats!
Backline infiltrator. It has a dive ability
right.
that can be used
If you're a rat, it's okay.
From any height.
Their tactical ability is invisibility. You pull this like shroud of invis over yourself. You can sprint during it, you can mantle during it, but
the comparisons to Apex on this are insane. Absolutely insane. Like the assassin is just Wraith. Like you can run in, you get behind, you're a backline, you know, disruptor. You can go invis, you can teleport. Well, this one you can't teleport, but Wraith you can teleport. Like it's unreal the comparisons to Apex Legends. But it's like Apex, but in a more of like a, you know, extraction space.
The faster you move, the more visible you're going to become, and if you take any actions, heal, shoot, get shot, you'll reveal yourself for a short duration. Their prime ability sends out this disc. It creates this like plumes of smoke that you can enter into, and then when combined with their passive shroud, they go invisible when they enter smoke. The whole thing here is like be invisible, be sneaky, and then enshroud the world in smoke.
Be sneaky, the rats, bro. I like recon. I think recon's pretty nice.
Recon was called internally Fun Police. That really is the core kind of fantasy. It's about hunting people down. It's about playing detective. If you want to find all the assassin shells on the map, recon is the shell you want to use. It comes with a tracker drone that you can toss out a little spider friend that crawls along the ground.
That spider is so OP, dude.
And explode. And that explosion overheats the target.
They can't move, they can't sprint, they're taking tick damage, and they like help you lock down a target so you can pursue them. And for their prime, Recon has this really awesome helmet that splits open, and they tap in these cool key codes. It opens up and pulses, and it sends out this like wave that detects both AI and players and marks them for you.
And when you break the shield of somebody as a recon shell, they leave holographic
I like
footprints
this.
behind. So even if they run away,
yeah,
you
that's a
can follow
nice
that
one.
trail and they'll lead right to them.
And then finally awareness, where if you get pinged, it'll actually tell you that someone like sees you. You won't know where, but you'll be able to be on high alert that somebody saw you and is marked you.
So I've made a couple of videos of talking about this game being a PvP heavy game. It is, everything about these builds right now are all PvP focused. Like it's all very PvP centric. Now, I know one of them is going to be like loot, you know, loot focused, but the majority of stuff that's happening in these builds it's all about your encounters with PvP. And you're going to have obviously some abilities that are going to help you in the PvE encounters as well. But a lot of this just really has to do with PvP. And I actually really like that. I think that this game needs to lean into that PvP nature, and hopefully it becomes this more like, I want to say sweaty, but I know a lot of people who are not super sweaty at shooter games are going to dislike that. But I hope it becomes that. I think it needs to be its own thing. And even though there's similarities with other games like Apex, I think they can still sort of carve out their own little space with the way that the gameplay feels. This is a really smart move on their part with the entire like structure of the game. It needs to be centered around something that is really a strength for Bungie, which is the gunplay.
Vandal is our shell that is, just by its very nature, more agile than our other shells. It has microjets that let it do a double jump. It has a power slide that goes much further than our normal sprint slide.
Their prime overloads their movement system so they can commit and chain all those actions together. They're about getting in and out, causing chaos.
This build, you're going to have to focus on heat a lot. The heat is what is basically stamina in the game. And if you don't focus your build around heat, your movement is going to be limited, and it's going to take away from the shell's abilities. This shell, this Vandal shell is really, really good for combat. I think a lot of like high skill players might gravitate towards this shell.
And you find a big ass gun barrel inside. You can use it to knock people out of cover. You can use it to knock people off of buildings, which is way more fun than knocking them out of cover.
The number of times we've knocked people off of field maintenance is like, this is a great thing.
This is the one, I think,
is a game that
with
is all about
loot.
finding the best stuff on the map. So we felt like we needed to have a shell that was sort of built for the loot goblin fantasy. That is Thief to a T. Thief's trade ability is X-ray visor, where you flip down your visor, you can see containers through walls.
Nice.
You can see enemies that are within line
Love
of sight.
it. Loot goblins,
Their
rejoice.
prime is pickpocket drone, where they deploy this like elegant origami mechanicalized butterfly. It has like a mechanical whip that it can send out, and that knocks loot out of both players and AI, and then it can suck that loot back up with the same whip. Or you can use it for recon. You can fly.
How does it work though? Like seriously, how, like if you're flying this drone around, this is one that I didn't actually get to play too much of with this drone. But when you fly the drone around and you knock loot out of someone, is it just knocking like the best piece of loot out of them? What's the, like, it's just a random piece? Because if I go and I go up to somebody and I try to knock a piece of loot out and it's a freaking like shield or health pack and I'm like, I'm just looking for actual loot, I'm going to be kind of disappointed. I think the majority of players are going to use it for this, like recon.
Around, you can ping, those pings are shared to your squad.
The Thief Shell also has a built-in grappling device that is embedded right in the forearm. You shoot out a dart.
This grappling thing is going to be OP for
it unfolds
PvP.
into this propeller that pulls
That's
you along
ridiculous.
and can swing away to safety.
It's very Pathfinder, right?
The recharge rate for their
Like-
grapple, their base
I just realized, I don't know why, it just popped. This is very Pathfinder, dude. You have this grappling ability that allows you to get in and out of combat easily. You have the recon ability. You scan around and look for loot. You can see through boxes. I don't know that Pathfinder can see through boxes. Like, the comparisons to Apex are just insane right now. All right, let's move on.
handling and stats will go up as you fill the backpack. So the idea is to become a loot goblin, right? Steal as much as you can and get out.
The triage shell is our shell for support players. If you want to keep your allies kicking so they can kick back, we have triage for you.
They're equipped with these awesome like capacitive gauntlets where you activate them and then you can overcharge them and send out these tendrils that then like shock you back to life. Their tactical ability, they actually have these giant drones attached to the legs and they pull them out, and it's a little buddy, he's got a little face, and you
Love
give him
the
a high
design on the
five and
drone.
send him on his way, and he'll come
He's
and
got little
hover over your
hands.
shoulder and provide you with shields and health.
Triage is really a combat medic, so we knew we needed to give an ability that was useful for firefights.
They've got two traits. The first one is a trait ability called Battery Overcharge, where they overcharge their capacitive gauntlets, which makes their weapons performance better. And if you're using battery weapons specifically, breaking shields will EMP targets, and that becomes an on-ramp to like a whole new
that's
layer
cool.
of build crafting. And then they have the second trait, Shareware, which is really cool, which is any buddies that have medi drones on them, any consumable you use will get like copied to them.
That
so you kinda
might
almost
be
are
a
this,
little
like,
bit
battle
OP,
medic
dude.
that's, like constantly running triage on your team.
Hold on. So when you throw a buddy drone on somebody and then you use a heal, then that copies to the person that's there as well. I don't know if it's a one-to-one copy, they didn't say, but if it is a one-to-one copy, your teammates don't really have to run that many heals. Like, you could run a very limited amount of heals and just run more like aggressive combat focused things, and your triage guy could just be healing everybody all the time. That's, I don't know. We gotta see the balancing on the cooldown on this, but that could be super OP. Scavenger.
Sometimes you just want to take a breather after a bunch of runs and just kind of go on a run to just see what happens. And Rook is really fun for that.
Picking Rook automatically opts you into queuing in solo. You're able to enter into a match in progress, and you're given a starting kit. You're now
It says you have to queue in solo with Rook. That's kind of frustrating, because if you're playing with friends, you're not always going to have a full vault. You're not always going to have stuff to go on a full run with. I think this should be an option no matter if you're going to be solo or not. I think you should be able to do this. The problem, though, is if you do have a team full of Rooks, they really have nothing to lose, and they could just, you know, bombard people. So we'll see how this works out. They may need to adjust this, but this, yeah.
allowed to bring anything in. That's almost to your advantage because you risk nothing, and anything you take out is yours to keep.
Instead of focusing on like progression and questing and things of that sort, it's a mode where we make it easy for you to just kind of drop into a match that's in progress and run about and try to scavenge as much as possible and get out with it so that you can populate your vault a little bit more for future runs.
Rook has a tactical ability that lets it blend in with UESC forces.
That's a,
So you
yeah, it's a
activate
creative
little
idea here.
mask appears
I
on
like
your
this.
face, and you are not perceived by the UESC as hostile. This lets you kind of get in, grab a little bit of loot, and then bail.
One of the things that I've really enjoyed about Rook is the added tension. Midway through a session, even though you've known like a few crews got taken out, or maybe you've taken out crews yourself, you don't know how many new players get injected through Rook.
Ultimately, Rook is a morality test, so you have a couple of options when you see a Rook. Either you're a decent person and you drop them a piece of loot and let them be on their merry way, or you are a monster and you blast them in the face. And I'm not going to say which one I am. I blast a lot of Rooks.
The Rook's gonna have loot, right? You gotta kill him. All right, that's it. That's it. March 2026. It's going to come fast, man. This game is almost here, and I'm glad that they're putting out. They're in full marketing cycle right now. They are putting out a ton of like little bits of content all the time, and it was nice to see a sort of a full-length video here with more information. We got a lot more to cover here on the channel. I really appreciate you guys watching this video, but my overall take on this is that I feel like they have a lot of good things coming in terms of the build crafting here. I want it to be extremely deep. I want there to be lots of options. We don't really know the full scope of it yet. I've played a lot of like early access stuff, and it looks like there's some potential there, but it's going to take some time to really figure out these builds. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we got some new information to you, and I will catch you on the next one.